I hate to admit it, but I don't untie my shoelaces. Whether they're Nikes, New Balances, or Jordans, I just don't. I shove my foot in it and go about my day. Well, at least until recently. And unfortunately, these shoes have seen all conditions like wet grass or, God forbid, I was in a dressing room and had to take off my socks, but didn't want my feet to touch the cold ground. And this was a terrible habit. One most would assume was because I don't care for my belongings or even my appearance, but it's a deeper issue than that. It wasn't until recently I bought a new pair of pastel shoes, and it's not like I've never owned white shoes before, but after a long day of wearing my new shoes, I came home, exhausted. I oddly enough began to untie them instead of my usual instinct of ripping them off my feet. Then it occurred to me, why don't I untie my shoes? Welcome back to Keep It Simple Sid, the podcast where I dive into different topics about human behaviour and share my personal thoughts to provide a different perspective on understanding why people do what they do. Today's episode is on bad habits and discipline. In life, we often know the answers to the majority of the questions we ask ourselves, whether we realise it or not. Wondering, is this the job right for me? How do I become more confident? Is this friendship as meaningful as I think it is? When we have these difficult questions, there's a basic framework. One may think about their bad habit of eating junk food and wonder, how do I eat healthy? Step 1. If you have no prior knowledge on the topic, you do the research. Once you have concrete information and get advice from trusted people. Step 2. Make a plan. How will you achieve your goals? Step 3. You do it. It's that simple. But why are 40% of Americans still obese if it's that easy? And why do I consistently avoid untying my shoes if I know it will crease, or even walking through wet grass as a shortcut? The question we should ask ourselves is, why is it difficult to do the things we know we should be doing, even if we're given a direct play-by-play of what to do? Why is it so difficult to be disciplined and escape the cycle of bad habits we know don't help us? I believe there are a multitude of reasons, some in which we can directly influence and some we have no control over. But I think one of the biggest reasons people fail is, to get the life you desire, you must give up the life you currently have. Predictability is far more comfortable than the unknown in a lot of cases, and a subpar, familiar present is often easier to comprehend than an uncertain future. If you're consistently late to work because you overslept, and because you don't value what comes with waking up an hour earlier, there's no incentive to change. As I've gotten older and expanded my repertoire of hobbies, I've seen validity in the sentiment that you should not be embarrassed to be seen trying, because if you think about it, you have already surpassed the version of you that has not even tried. So you may ask, Sid, how does one break the cycle of poor habits to become more disciplined? And it's to simply start. The best way to start and not stop is to take the feelings and emotions out of the decision-making process and create a concrete fact. You put on clothes every day because that is a fact of nature. You wear clothes. We don't even think twice about it. It's also deemed quite odd if you don't, and you'll likely feel a little guilt in not doing what you're supposed to do, just like any other fact of life. As an avid gym goer and someone that 85% of the time eats very clean and healthy, I often view myself as a well-oiled machine, not allowing my brain a moment to introduce the feelings of not wanting to do something if you know it's good for you. But there are nuances to this concept, especially in the early stages of forming and sticking to habits. We are human, and this way of thinking can really only do so much. The concept of grind culture and being so hard on yourself is not sustainable. I realised you need to make the guilt and pain of you breaking a promise to yourself outweigh the pleasure and instant gratification of the thing that's tempting you. Aristotle says, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. To be the person you want to be and not binded by your habits, it's imperative to use every moment as an opportunity to practice and rewrite your story to become the person you want to be. You are evidence of the decisions you've made in the past, but you purposely choose to be that same person tomorrow when you stay complicit in your bad patterns. Break the pattern. Untie your shoes.